Every night, the old man sat alone in the corner booth of Rosie's diner. Every night, the young men in the other corner laughed a little too loud, stealing glances at his booth. They called him names under their breath. None of them had the courage to say it to his face, but on this night, something changed. The youngest of the group stood up, emboldened by beer and cruelty.
Please don't do this. He's just a lonely old man.
The young man walked toward Henry's table, staggering in a cruel imitation. The diner went still.
Your coffee's getting cold, sweetheart. Let me warm it up.
The young man hesitated, then turned away. Henry's hands, resting on the table, trembled.
He carries so much pain. I can feel it. Grandpa was the same. Came back from the war, and nobody wanted to remember. I won't let him disappear too.
In her cramped apartment across town, Charlotte kept a small shrine to the man who taught her what sacrifice meant, and why some wounds never heal.
Grandpa Robert. He came home from the war, but he never stopped fighting the memories. He left me his medal, his dog tags, and one unspoken promise: never let the forgotten stay invisible.
The next evening at Rosie's, Charlotte clocked in with a new edge to her smile.
Same as usual tonight, sir? Or I can bring you a slice of fresh meatloaf that'll warm your bones.
Just coffee.
She didn't flinch. She turned to the kitchen and came back with a slice of warm apple pie, the kind not for just anyone.
On the house, everyone deserves a little sweetness now and then.
The old man said nothing. From the counter, another waitress rolled her eyes and whispered that Charlotte was wasting her time.
They can laugh. I won't let him disappear.
Later that night, when the last customers trickled out, Charlotte saw Henry rise to leave. He moved as slow and heavy as a man carrying armor. As he fumbled with his coat, a small wooden box slipped from his pocket and clattered to the floor. Charlotte darted over before he could pick it up. She knelt, the box already ajar, glinting metal inside.
Medals. A whole collection. This man, he's not just old. He's a hero.
Henry snatched the box from her hands before she could speak, his face dark and trembling.
That is none of your business.
He clutched the box to his chest and pushed out the door, leaving nothing but the echo of the bell.
Mike, I need to tell you something. The old man in the corner booth, he's a decorated war veteran. I saw his medals.
Careful, Charlotte. Some men don't want their stories dug up. Let it be.
But I can't let it be. I won't. I have to know who he really is.
She spent the next day at the public library, scrolling through old microfilm, her heart racing each time a headline appeared.
There. Cross Henry, Sergeant, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart. He's not just a veteran, he's a war hero.
The article described Omaha Beach. He'd carried wounded men through machine gun fire, refusing to retreat until every last one was safe.
And now he sits in a diner, invisible. That ends.
The next morning, she found Mike in the diner office, her printouts in hand.
Mike, you saw the medals. Now read this. He's a hero. I want to hold a tribute here at the diner, a whole night to honor him.
Charlotte, this is a big risk. He was furious when you saw those medals. What if he walks out?
Then at least he'll know someone saw him. Please, Mike. One night.
Fine. One night. But you coordinate with me, and if he says no, we cancel. No questions.
One night is all I need.
On Wednesday night, Charlotte didn't bring pie. She refilled his coffee and leaned against the booth, letting the silence stretch.
You ever notice how quiet it gets when the rain starts? Feels like the whole world stops to listen.
Rain's just rain.
My grandpa used to say the best stories come out in the rain, but he never told his own.
Then maybe he had good reason. Some stories don't need telling.
After the last customer left and the neon went dark, Charlotte found him still there, nursing cold coffee. She locked the door and slid into the opposite seat.
My grandfather came home and never said a word about the war, but I found his medals after he died. I knew he carried something heavy.
He was a soldier. Forget it. Doesn't matter now. Some things are better left buried.
She left him alone in the booth, but as she locked the door behind her, the weight of unspoken words followed her into the night. Armed with a list of names from old newspaper clippings, Charlotte spent the next evening calling veterans who had served alongside Sergeant Henry Cross.
I am calling about Henry Cross. You were with him at Omaha.
The voice on the other end, weathered and slow, told her Henry was the man who never flinched, who pulled wounded soldiers from the fire while bullets chewed the sand.
They all say the same thing. He saved lives, but he never wanted to be called a hero.
One after another, the calls confirmed the same portrait. A man who gave everything and asked for nothing.
How do I honor a man whose greatest wish is to be forgotten?
The final veteran, a man named Crowley, said Henry stopped attending reunions decades ago. He preferred the quiet.
If I don't do this, his story dies with him. But if I do, I might drive him further away.
She stared at the old unit photo, at the young faces in uniform, and felt the burden of choosing between recognition and respect.
What would Grandpa want? To honor the man who fought beside him, or to respect his silence?
2 days later, in the quiet of her apartment, Charlotte pulled up a faded unit roster from the Omaha Beach landing. Her eyes froze on line 23.
Evans, Robert, Specialist. My grandfather, right there, under the same command as Henry Cross.
She compared it to the old photograph of her grandfather in uniform, the same unit patch, the same youth and terror in his eyes.
They fought together. Henry might have known him, might even have saved him.
She remembered the old man in the diner, the box of medals he clutched so fiercely, and suddenly the tribute was no longer a mission of pity. It was personal.
I can't do this halfway. If he really saved my grandfather, he needs to know what that means.
She began a quiet campaign, drafting invitations on diner napkins, calling every number she could find, asking old comrades to come honor one of their own. In the bottom of her grandfather's footlocker, she found a tattered address book with names she recognized from the roster, living links to the man in the corner booth.
This is bigger than I thought. Please let there be someone who remembers him.
One by one, she left messages, her voice steady, but her heart racing, knowing that each call might bring her closer to the truth. Henry refused to speak.
Mike, the local station called back. They're sending a cameraman and everything.
Charlotte, this is risky. If Henry storms out on camera, it'll be front-page news for all the wrong reasons.
Ignoring the knot in her stomach, she spent the afternoon draping flags around the diner, each one a small act of faith. She taped a welcome veteran sign to the door, her reflection staring back, a question she couldn't answer.
One more sleep. Then we show him that the world hasn't forgotten.
I've been here long enough to know when a man wants to be left alone. Henry's been that man for years.
He wasn't always alone. He had brothers in arms, and some of them are coming.
When Henry walked in that evening, she almost broke. The words were right there. Henry, I set up a tribute for you, but she swallowed them.
Not yet. He'll just leave if I tell him now. Wait till tomorrow.
She gave him his coffee, her smile fragile, and counted the hours to a night that would change everything. 2 nights before the tribute, Charlotte saw Henry in his booth, a worn photograph trembling in his hands.
He's never let me see that before. Something feels different tonight, like a door cracking open. Can I sit? Just for a moment.
My squad, Omaha Beach, all gone now, except me.
Henry didn't raise his voice, but the words hit Charlotte like a gut punch, exposing the guilt that walled him off.
I could tell him about Grandpa right now, but that might shatter him.
She listened instead. He spoke of men he pulled from the sand, names he never forgot, and the silence that followed him home.
He doesn't need a speech. He needs to know his sacrifice meant something to someone. You saved lives. That matters. Whether you believe it or not, Henry.
She left him there, the photograph face down on the table, and walked home through the rain, knowing she could not turn back now. The letter arrived in the morning mail from a veteran too frail to come. Inside, he'd tucked a 60-year-old photograph. She unfolded it slowly. The squad, frozen in youth, and at the edge, a face she knew, her grandfather.
Right beside Henry. They fought together. This proves it.
She called the sender immediately, her voice shaking as she thanked him for the missing link.
You've given me the proof I needed. Henry Cross saved my family.
Afterward, she phoned the remaining comrades, each confirmation a fragile thread.
They're coming. They're all coming. Now, if only he does.
She sat at the empty diner counter, scratching out her speech on a napkin, lines crossed out, coffee cold.
It has to break through. It has to tell him he mattered.
Late that night, she fell asleep clutching the photograph, her last conscious thought a prayer that he would walk through the door. The morning sun hadn't dried the rain when Henry pushed through the diner door, hours before his usual time, his face haggard and his voice already tight.
You've been busy.
Henry, I can explain. Please, just sit down.
Explain what? That you've been digging into my life, calling my men, turning this place into a circus.
He pointed at the flags, the banner, his hand trembling with fury.
This is not your pain to carry. You have no right to make me a spectacle.
He slammed his fist on the counter, rattling the cup, and walked out without another word, the door swinging in the heavy silence.
Charlotte, let it go. Cancel the whole thing. He's not coming back.
I can't. Not yet. Just give me a minute.
She stood frozen in the empty diner, the napkin with her speech crumpled in her hand, the weight of his words breaking something deep inside that she wasn't sure could be repaired. She lowered herself onto a stool, the photograph of the two young soldiers, Henry and her grandfather, flat on the counter before her.
I can't let him disappear into the dark. He needs to know he didn't save a stranger.
Instead of a speech, she wrote a letter, each word trembling with the truth she'd never spoken aloud. She wrote, "Henry, my grandfather, was Robert Evans. You carried him out of Omaha. Because of you, my family exists. Please, tonight at 7, let us honor you. Not for glory, but for gratitude." She folded the letter around the photograph, slipped it into her coat, and locked the diner behind her. The city was gray, but she didn't feel the cold. She only felt the weight of the envelope against her ribs. At Henry's building, the hallway light was a dusty bulb. She knelt and slid the envelope under the heavy door.
It's done. He'll either come or hate me forever. At least I've told the truth.
She returned to the empty diner and sat alone, the flags still hanging, the clock ticking towards 7.
Now we wait.
Late afternoon, the diner still empty. Charlotte watched the rain-streaked glass and saw a silhouette pause, then push forward.
He came. After everything I said. After he slammed that door, he walked all the way here.
Henry stepped inside, the crumpled letter still in his fist. He didn't speak. He just looked at her and nodded once, then walked to his booth. Minutes later, the door swung open again. Old men in garrison caps entered, their faces lined and bright. They made straight for Henry's booth. Hands gripped, old nicknames filled the air, and for the first time in years, Henry's booth was not a lonely place. The diner filled. Families, regulars, news reporters, all drawn by a rumor that a forgotten hero would be here tonight. A television camera set up in the corner, its red light blinking, trained on the small stage area near the counter.
They're all here. This is real. Now I just have to say the words.
Mike squeezed her shoulder, then stepped onto the low platform to ask for silence. Charlotte unfolded the napkin one last time, her own handwriting staring back, and stepped into the warm light. The hum of voices fell as Mike raised his hand from behind the counter, his voice carrying a rare solemnity over the crowded diner. Charlotte stepped into the warm spotlight, the microphone cold in her palm, her throat dry as she looked out at the sea of faces.
Every night, people pass through these doors, and we see them without really seeing them. The quiet ones, the ones who sit in the corner and never complain. They carry stories we never hear because we never think to ask.
She extended her arm toward the corner, and a path of light cut through the diner, landing squarely on the old man in the booth. 300 faces turned as one, their gaze falling on the man who had never asked to be seen. Henry did not lift his head. His hands lay flat on the tabletop, motionless, as if bracing for a judgment he could not escape.
That man has sat in that same booth every night for years, invisible to everyone in this room.
The bottle of ketchup by his elbow trembled from the vibration of his hands, but Henry still did not look up. Charlotte's voice wavered as she finally broke the silence that had surrounded the old man for decades.
His name is Henry Cross. In his pocket you won't find a wallet. You'll find a silver star and a purple heart.
From the veterans' table, an old man pinched the bridge of his nose and fought to keep still.
Omaha Beach. The ramp dropped. The sand turned red. He didn't run, he pulled the wounded through the burning tide.
The diner had grown so quiet that the hum of the pie case was the only sound.
He saved 15 men that day. He'd tell you he was just doing his job.
A soldier in the crowd rose, his hand lifting to his brow in a silent salute.
For 60 years, he kept those medals in a shoebox, as if bravery was something to be ashamed of.
Henry's coffee cup rattled against the saucer. His shoulders hitched, but he did not meet their eyes. Then his composure cracked, a single tear tracing down his weathered cheek.
I have one more thing to show you tonight. Something that changed everything.
She unfolded the aged photograph, the two young soldiers shoulder to shoulder, and held it toward the light.
Do you see this young man, the one standing right beside Henry?
Her fingertip rested on her grandfather's face, and the room went so still you could hear the quiet hum of the neon sign.
His name was Robert Evans. Specialist. He was my grandfather.
A collective gasp moved through the diner like a sudden wind.
He was one of the men Henry pulled from the sand. Because of Henry, my grandfather lived to have a family, to have a family, to have me.
From her pocket, she drew a metal tag on a chain and held it high, her grandfather's dog tag.
Henry Cross didn't just save a soldier. He saved a father. He saved my family. He saved me.
And in the corner booth, Henry slowly raised his head, his eyes wet and wide, meeting hers for the first time.
You held him in the water, didn't you, Henry? You told him to keep breathing.
Her voice cracked, but she pressed on, each word a debt repaid.
My grandfather told me about the man who carried him through the surf, who promised he'd make it home. That man was you.
Henry's hands found the edge of the table, bracing for a weight he hadn't carried since that bloody morning.
You saved him. And because you did, he came home. He became a father, a grandfather. He became my hero.
She set the microphone down and stepped into the silence, crossing the diner toward the corner booth. Henry pushed himself upright, the booth creaking under his slow rise, his hands trembling.
I've waited my whole life to thank the man who gave me my family.
The diner held its breath, 300 souls hanging on the fragile moment between the old soldier and the young waitress.
Please, Henry, let them see you.
Henry's gaze locked on the photograph, on the young face beside his own. His lips parted and the silence shattered.
Robert. I remember him.
He reached out, his hand finding Charlotte's. The touch was fragile, but it held 60 years of weight. A single clap broke the tension from a veteran in the corner. Then another, then a wave of sound that lifted the whole diner to its feet. The ovation was not polite, it was primal. Cries mixed with applause, old soldiers and strangers alike honoring the man who had been invisible. A middle-aged man in uniform stepped forward and saluted, his tears unchecked. Behind the counter, Mike the manager wept openly, clapping until his palms stung.
Thank you, Henry, for everything.
Charlotte fell into his arms, and he held her as if she were the last living piece of that distant beach. And the applause went on and on, a river of gratitude that no one wanted to end. The applause slowly quieted, leaving Henry and Charlotte in the eye of the storm, their foreheads pressed together.
I was angry because I was scared. I tried so hard to forget.
You don't have to carry it alone anymore, Henry. You can let go.
Near the counter, Mike wiped his eyes with a dish towel and set 2 fresh coffees to cool. The reporter lowered her microphone, realizing the real story was too sacred for broadcast.
Robert used to say, the only way to survive was to find something worth living for.
He found it, and he passed it to me, and now I am giving it back to you.
The old soldiers closed in, hands on Henry's shoulders, and the circle held.
Thank you for not giving up on me, Charlotte.
And in that crowded diner, the forgotten veteran finally allowed himself to be seen and to belong. Henry guided Charlotte back to his booth, the old vinyl creaking under their weight, and the diner's chaos dimmed to a low murmur around them.
May I see him again?
She placed the photograph in his palm, and his trembling thumb traced the gentle outline of Robert's smile, as if touching a relic.
He always laughed. At the worst moments. Bullets flying, and he'd crack a joke. Said laughter was the only medicine he could carry onto that beach.
Then Henry unbuttoned his vest with slow, deliberate hands and retrieved a small metal disc, its edges worn smooth by 6 decades of silence. He pressed it into her palm.
It's his. Your grandfather's medal. I've kept it since that day.
How?
He dropped it when I lifted him from the surf. I meant to give it back, but after the war, I couldn't face anyone.
The diner slowly emptied, the last echoes of applause replaced by a warm, quiet hum. One by one, the old soldiers came to shake Henry's hand, their grips firm, their eyes bright. "See you next week, Sarge."
I can drive you home, Henry. It's no trouble.
I'll walk him, if that's okay.
I'd like that.
She helped him into his coat, her fingers gentle against the old wool, and together they walked toward the door. The door swung shut behind them, the welcome veteran sign fluttering once in the night air. They paused under the neon glow, two figures no longer fatherless or forgotten. And as they walked off into the rain-washed streets, the diner's lights stayed on, a quiet invitation for anyone who had ever felt invisible. Weeks later, a brass plaque appeared on the wall. In honor of Henry Cross, hero. Each evening, Charlotte slid into the seat across from him, and the booth felt full.
You'd better not be flirting with the other waitresses, Henry.
Only with the one who brings me pie.
They held hands across the tabletop, her fingers resting lightly on his weathered knuckles. The diner hummed with the clatter of plates and the warmth of a place that had finally become family.
This is how it was supposed to be. Grandpa would be laughing.
I am not alone anymore. Neither is she.
In the golden light, the old man and the young woman laughed until their coffee went cold. Rosie's diner glowed on the corner, its doors open, its story no longer hidden.